Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload, as you can tell by the title, we'll be discussing a large storm system tracking very actually far to the north across Canada. And why are we talking about it? Well, first, I am now including Canada into my forecast. But even, southern Canada, they won't really get a lot of precip from this event, or even the U.S. It's more of a kind of what happens because of this storm. So the impacts could be some very chilly air, and it could change the pattern. So that's definitely something I want to talk about. Regarding the tropics, you all know that, you can see right here, we have hurricane watches and warnings, tropical storm watches and warnings. That's definitely a dangerous situation. For that, go to the National Hurricane Center, go to NOAA. For any official forecast, go to those locations. But especially for the tropics, as I don't feel qualified to talk about that, since I have less experience than I do about things like, pattern changes or snowstorms, and also the consequences of being wrong from a tropic or hurricane can be pretty severe and definitely costly. So I stay out of that. I have complete respect for those people that do decide to talk about that. I've done that myself, right? But I've ever since ceased to do that. I will also be briefly mentioning, talking about the western fires. The western U.S. has, it's just out of control, and I'll talk about the weather to come. And if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I am the owner of this channel, and we just talk about a lot of stuff about the weather to do with the weather, and we have a very fun time. So if you'd like to join, consider subscribing, not just because I told you to, but decide that for yourself. See the channel, check out the whole video. And if you're a returning supporter and viewer, liking the video would be amazing. So thank you for that. Let's start off by looking at the Gfs Global Forecasting System. Notice I am recording this at around right now 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have the newest model of the newest model run from the GFS coming in. It's our 210. And really, that's all as far as I want to go, since this isn't necessarily a long-range forecast, it's more centered towards a shorter range. Let's go to the 2-meter temperature anomaly, and let's go back to our zeros. So what's going on presently? We have a bit of a chill across the eastern and northern United States. Really nothing too significant. What we do have, unfortunately, is a lot of heat across the west, and notice how that kind of sticks around for a while. Some of it tries spreading into the central United States, and it will do so. Notice, because of the cloud cover and rain from the tropics, from Hurricane Sally, we will see cooler temperatures across the southeast. So I guess that's one of the benefits. If hard to find any benefits with a hurricane, but at least you'll be experiencing some cooler temperatures. So that is definitely something that is worthy. And by the way, I will be trying to talk slower. Sometimes I catch myself off guard and I really speed up. So I will be attempting to talk slower. I caught myself there going fast. Notice we have a large cool-off right there across Canada and into the northern United States, and this is brought by that storm system, which I'll talk about in just a bit. Snow showers across Canada, really not much in terms of precip, but a lot in terms of the cool weather. And you can see that affects a good portion of the eastern and northern United States and eventually spills into the south. Unfortunately, if you look at the western United States, the heat just continues at record amounts, and the moisture will be limited, pretty much nothing. The heat will be not limited, pretty much a ton, and that will lead to a lot of more concern with the wildfires. They are struggling, and there's a reason, because it's just been so darn hot this year and dry. That's what happens as a result. So notice that we see a lot of cool weather across the eastern United States. Now, by next weekend, hopefully we see a bit of a relief across the west. Maybe there will be moments where they could see some cooler temperatures, but overall, it still looks as if the heat will come back to those areas eventually. You could see back in the warmth, and the only cool areas are really the eastern United States and maybe the southeast. They have the best chance of seeing this cool air, and if I go even further out, you could see the heat just expands. It stays in the west, but just expands across the rest of the United States with a few pockets of cooler air, but it will be more hard-fetched, if you will. So definitely not good news for the west. Now, let's take a quick look at the precipitation outlook. By the way, my mouse continues to dance. You can see right there dancing pretty intensely. Having fun. Yeah, I'll probably have to get a new mouse. It's like a $6 mouse, nothing to worry about. Total accumulated precipitation, you can see the most eye-catching aspect is just a heavy rain in the southeast. We see a lot of rain across Mississippi, Alabama, right by New Orleans, southern Louisiana. That obviously is too much rain, and that will cause flooding and concerns. And notice, anywhere else in the country, it's really limited. We see a bit more towards the north where the center of that storm system lies, but western United States and northern United States, just a few areas of rain, but that's just not going to be enough to pretty much par up, if you will, kind of suffice the need for moisture in such heat. And also, not to mention that these areas are in a drought, so they're going to continue to fall even more behind. So definitely not the best news for the West, unfortunately. Hopefully we could see that change as we approach the winter. A La Nina pattern takes its effect. Weather conditions towards the northwest, the southwest may be a bit more struggling with that. And as you know, it's not just limited to the southwest, the rain or the heat and the wildfires. Look at the mouse going crazy. All right. Let's take a look now at the Mslp and Precip so I can show you what this winter storm is about. And I do apologize, I kind of have been, it's already 5 minutes into the video and I'm just now starting to talk about the storm. But, you know, I have to go over the idea or the main weather events that are going on that are affecting a large portion of the population. Let's look at North America, the whole continental view, as that's going to help us view the storm. And you can see there's Canada, Alaska, lower 48 in Mexico, and what we see is pretty interesting. We see the storm that we had over the weekend push off into Greenland, dumping a lot of snow and strong winds and rain. And then we see this vortice really right here, which is still right now centered way across northern Canada by the province of Nunavut, very far to the north, very limited population up there. Pretty much considered the Arctic, if you will, the Arctic Circle. And this little piece right here, the little swirl, drops down pretty far to the south, but not far south enough to really impact a good portion of the viewing area. Our viewing area with Precip. I mean, you can see a bit of rain does develop across southern Canada and into portions of Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa. Definitely under the gun for some rain, and even if you live further to the north, you could be experiencing some snow showers. So that is definitely the case. Even as far south as, you know, portions of Michigan and upstate New York and Vermont and Maine and New Hampshire could be seeing some showers. But really, you can see right there, we see quite a bit of snow showers, a lot of cold. And what this storm does, you can see possibly another one forming right there. What this storm does is basically allow this cool air to spill down to the south. And, you know, maybe not going to get impacted by the direct storm itself, the precipitation and the rain. You will get impacted by kind of what it brings behind it. So kind of like an indirect impact. Let's take a look at the tubular temperature anomalies, and let's see this. So right now, again, we look at that. We have that large lobe of cooler air. It's kind of stored in Canada, coming out of the freezer, if you will. And really, Quebec and Nova Scotia, Labrador, Newfoundland are the cooler areas. Anywhere else, it's pretty warm, even across the south. And as we continue pushing this into time, you can see that by Wednesday and into Thursday, this cool air spills into the United States, Minnesota, Wisconsin, UP of Michigan, North Dakota, South Dakota. See a lot of this cool air. Now, this cool air seems to be limited to really just east of the Rockies. Unfortunately, it would be nice if the West could get in on some of this cool air, but it really looks to be affecting, especially, you know, southeastern Canada. But look at that. I mean, British Columbia, Alberta, Yukon, just even Alaska, Western Territories, so much above average temperatures. And not good news. I mean, those are very, very hot temperatures that we just don't like to see at this time of the year, or any time of the year, to be honest with you. Especially when we have raging wildfires, right? It's like pretty much putting gasoline on a fire, trying to put it out. Obviously would not end in a good situation. The cool air by Friday spills very far to the south into the United States and maintains its grip across the eastern Great Lakes. Southern Canada, where majority of Canadians live, or at least in majority of Canadians in the eastern half of Canada live. But over here by Calgary, Winnipeg, these cities, areas are going to be dealing with not cool temperatures and just downright hot temperatures. So that definitely is something we'll have to monitor. And you just have to stay up to the date with the forecast and possibly even evacuation orders if, smoke gets bad enough or there's a wildfire threat, which is at this point completely possible with the way the situation's been unfolding. By this weekend, this cool air mass continues shifting off the coast, and here we see a big jump in a few hours that the GFS hasn't rendered, and we go from Sunday all the way to Tuesday, and by then you can see that it looks as if the warmth may be making its way into the United States and impacting these areas quite significantly. Let's take a look at the European model. This is a highly regarded model, as the GFS, usually a bit more highly regarded. So it's important to show you. It doesn't go out as far as the GFS, but in this case, it doesn't really matter. The storm system will be occurring in the next 90 to 100 hours, so we don't need 300 hours of forecast. This European doesn't have a continental view, so I'm going to show you what I have to work with. Notice there's our hurricane, comes on shore really slowly and it dumps a lot of rain, so definitely want to make that clear. But here's our storm system. You can see snow across northern Ontario pushing into James Bay. And we have a cold front possibly developing on Thursday right here across southern Canada, definitely affecting those areas. And we see behind that, obviously, very chilly air, the high pressure, and also very windy conditions around this low pressure. And again, this is, it doesn't seem that far to the north, this snow, but yet again, here's where kind of the polar bear range starts. There's a polar bear national park up here, so, it's not, it looks a bit more, it's a bit further than it looks, if you will. So as it pushes forward, that storm dwindles away, doesn't do much action other than obviously leave behind a cool air which filters in and sticks around for a while, but then we could be looking at more storms kind of pushing that out. But after that's kind of a big unknown what we'd look at. Some models are showing more active precipitation, some models aren't. Let's take a look at the total accumulated precipitation based on the European. I showed you the GFS one, it looked pretty dry, and this is the European one just take it through next Sunday. Notice these locations across the south will get absolutely inundated by floodwaters, 14 and 15. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a couple areas seeing over 20 inches. But really, Midwest, eastern United States, and Northeast, just dry, very, very dry. I haven't seen such a dry map in a very long time, to be honest with you. But that's the case. You can see a bit of precipitation possibly entering the Pacific Northwest, not that much, and it doesn't look to be widespread. Hopefully we could get as much as we can out of that. Notice we do see a bit more precip across southern Canada, especially where that cold front could set up Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, 1 to 2 inches possible. I just wanted, for the fun of it, take a look at the total snowfall, because we may be looking at some accumulations. And you can see right there across northern Quebec and northern Ontario, we see 3-4 inches, and a few pockets obviously up to 7-6, and right there possibly up to a foot in that location, which is blocked by those little icons. And I want to look at the 2-meter temperature anomalies that the European shows. Pretty much the same story. Really warm conditions mixing with a bit of cool conditions up until this upcoming Thursday, where that cool air starts spilling into the United States. And at times the European doesn't really show its significance of the cool air. I think it will be a bit cooler than the European shows, but if you're 15 degrees below average in September, mid-September, that could bring out some sweaters across those areas. So weather is here, if you will. And then you can see that the heat looks to replace that, and the European is very confident in that, showing just late season heat. So a wild kind of event coming on, but also I just want to show that this cool air mass will definitely bring frost to the northern United States. We already have frost and freeze warnings for tonight and tomorrow, but that's not even associated with that cool off, that significant cool off. And they prompted let's go to Old Forge. It seems to be the largest city on here. You could see 32 degrees, freeze warning, and it'll probably get cooler. You can see Friday night 28, so they'll have another one issued. Alright, that's basically it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.